Happy Ramadan to all of you, dear viewers watching us on Nile TV International around the whole world. May it bring about peace, mercy, and all happiness and blessings to you all. Praise be to Allah, the creator of the whole world, the one who exists without beginning and without end. One of the stylistic tools that are used by the glorious Quran to convey the messages is through a narrative or a story that can be found in the Holy Quran in different forms and also for different purposes. The Holy Quran relates the stories of the previous nations, the stories of prophets, the descriptions of different events, all in all with one objective, which is conveying a sense of teaching and glad tidings also for the believers, and a reminder as well as a warning. As human beings, we all know that we have an affinity for stories. We always like to listen to stories and to know what is coming next in one story or the other, and also to watch out for the endings. And as lessons conveyed to us through the stories, you find the lessons conveyed to us through stories have an impact, it leaves an impact on us all. Moreover, many of us are curious about the lives and the circumstances also of the prophets and of others whom Allah Almighty have honored. It is for such reasons that stories and examples from the past are really plentiful in the Holy Quran. Many verses and many chapters are definitely highlighting this, inspiring us to attain true faith as well as to adhere to it under the different circumstances.
قبل الوجود آخر بعد الخلود مطلق عن الحدود واجب له السجود جل الله في علا ما لنا رب سوى جل الله في علا ما لنا رب سوى جل الله في علا ما لنا رب سوى لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله.
And this year, in the year 2023, we've chosen to use stories from the Holy Quran that is going to bring about insights and lessons behind those stories and readings behind those stories. We're really honored to have with us Dr. Hussein Allam, visiting lecturer at Al-Azhar University. Thank you so much, Dr. Allam, for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
And happy Ramadan to you.
To you too, and to all our dear respected viewers across the globe.
With Dr. Allam, we will know more about
in the light that they had no other choice. So this was not their first choice. Rather, we see that they reached the point where they had no other option but to find a safe haven away from where they were before that. And we see how in the language used by the young people themselves, how is it they are supporting each other, giving us also this important feature of how is it we need to be supportive of those around us. And of course here starting with the family and one's close surrounding. And also we see how is it they speak of the importance of seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and asking for the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is where we really need to pause in order to think and reflect beyond what we normally think about. And that's definitely, as we go in life, we will encounter situations of difficulty, we will come across hardships, we will encounter very huge stumbling blocks, but still, by the end of the day, we have the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have in the very story of the people of the cave, and particularly the young people of the cave, an inspiration, or if you like, a window of hope that no matter how tough circumstances can get, still the longing for the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a sure way for protection and for being safeguarded. And this is why we clearly see how that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has altered and transformed the cosmological norms for them to be protected, and how that all the means have been put there for them to be protected. So much so that even after all of this time being slept in the cave, according to the interpreters of the Noble Quran and the different various commentaries on the Noble Quran, they say that they went into the cave at the beginning of the day, and they woke up at the end of the day. And this is why some of them said, we just have been here for a day, and some of them even said even lesser than this. So the very fact that this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed for them to be protected, and how is it they were saved from this plaintiff, this trial and this strife, is definitely a reason for us to reflect and to think of how great Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is for those who seek genuinely the help and the support of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
الله ومن هو الله؟
الله الذي أحسن كل شيء صنعا بجملة واحدة، لا إله إلا الله. والله إني أسمعها ليلا ونهارا، لا إله إلا الله.
والله إني أسمع كل جماد حولي ينطق لي بها، لا إله إلا الله. والله وأنا أسمع قلبي يرددها، لا إله إلا الله،
لا إله إلا الله،
لا إله إلا الله،
لا إله إلا الله.
من يردد جملة كنا نظن أننا فقط سامعوها.
It reminds us, of course, this story of the people of the cave when they were actually exposed to a very difficult circumstance with the king ordering his men to chase the young believers
them, yes.
and resorting to Allah Almighty. Later on, centuries also reminds us of what has happened with our
the Prophet,
great
peace be upon him. Yes, that's very true.
Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, peace and praise be upon him, and his companion Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, and how they were also rescued and supported through the sympathy and guidance of Allah.
Yeah, that's very true. When we look into the seerah or the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and how that when the people and particularly the polytheists of Mecca, when they decided to follow the Prophet peace be upon him, although he decided to leave Mecca and to move forward towards Medina, they still followed him, and they followed him, and they tracked, and they did try to track him down. But we clearly also see how miraculously the Prophet ﷺ, along with his noble companion Abu Bakr Siddiq, was saved from their attempts to annihilate the mission of the Prophet ﷺ. So here, this is also very insightful, because it shows us that it is not a one-time thing, that this is actually the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not only to people from a very old time ago, or one of the messengers of Allah. Rather, this is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to all the believers across all times, be it in the past, be it in the current time, or whatever time that will come in the future. This will always be the support of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعْدَ اللَّهِ لَا يُخْلِفُ اللَّهُ الْمِعَادَ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised to be there for the believers, for the genuine seekers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly states Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would never break his promise to the believers.
إن جنود الملك يبحثون عنا في كل مكان.
لا تخشى شيئا يا أمليخة، إننا نفر بديننا إلى الله.
إن أسماءنا معلقة على الحجر الكبير، وهناك مكافأة في انتظار من يدل علينا، والعذاب والقتل لمن يرانا ولا يخبر عنا.
اللهم إنا نلجأ إليك يا ملجأ اللاجئين ويا مغيث المستغيثين.
اللهم أنت ملاذنا، ربنا رب السماوات والأرض، لن ندعو من دونه إلها، لقد قلنا إذا شططا.
اللهم أغثنا من أهل الضلال، هؤلاء قومنا اتخذوا من دونه آلهة لولا يأتون عليهم بسلطان بين، فمن أظلم ممن افترى على الله كذبا.
يا من يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه.
إلى أين أنت ذاهب يا حمران؟ تعال هنا حتى لا تدل علينا يا حمران.
مرحى يا حمران، كيف اهتديت إلى هذا الكهف؟
إن مدخله يكاد لا يرى.
هيا نختبئ داخله أيها الفتية المؤمنون، لعل الله أراد بنا خيرا داخل هذا الكهف.
اللهم لك الحمد والشكر.
Well, Dr. Allam, concerning the story of the cave, it is also called, like, let me say, the trial of faith. Why is it called so, in your opinion?
Because of many facts, the most prominent of them is the fact that the prime issue here was their belief, that they were persecuted, they were rejected because of their faith and belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in spite of everything, I mean here, all these challenges, all this persecution, this was never a reason for them to compromise on their faith or when it comes to their belief. So this was a real test for young people who freely chose and decided to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one and only, in a very pure faith, and this faith was a reason for them to be dynamic and productive in their society. But because of how challenging the situation is, this was not acceptable at that point in time. So this is where the idea of being a trial of faith comes from or stems from. And again, what I really want to stress more here is how relevant this is to all times. Because at any point of time, there can be challenges to one's faith, to one's ethics, to one's manners. So the clear message that can be extracted here is, no matter how the environment that the person can be in or the atmosphere that the person is existing at, no matter how forcing it can be to do that which is not right, this cannot be a justifiable reason for the believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be swayed by this or to be inclined towards compromising one's ethics and beliefs. Rather, the stance and the spirit should be one of a strong belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, having an unshakable resolve in one's faith, in one's matters of value and matters of ethics and noble manners, and to leave it wholly to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because definitely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would never let them down.
لا إله إلا الله،
لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله،
لا إله إلا الله.
كم لبثتم؟ لبثنا يوما
أو بعض يوم.
ربكم أعلم بما لبثتم.
ليذهب أحدنا بالنقود هذه إلى المدينة
ليتخير لنا طعاما جيدا.
وليتلطف ولا يشعرن بكم أحدا.
إنهم إن يظهروا علينا يرجمونا أو يعيدونا في ملتهم، ولن نفلح ساعتها أبدا.
سأخرج أنا.
الله معك يا أخي، خذ حذرك.
لا نتركك أيها الشاب حتى تذكر لنا خبرك.
ومن أين أتيت؟ وماذا حدث لك بالضبط؟ وما سر هذه العملة؟
لقد أوينا إلى هذا الكهف فرارا بديننا.
سبحان الله، يا لها من معجزة. لقد خبأكم الله في هذا الكهف وحماكم برحمته، وظللتم 300 سنة و9 وأنتم نائمون. سبحان الله القادر على كل شيء، والذي يحيي الموتى ويبعثهم يوم القيامة.
لقد مات فتية الكهف.
ماذا نفعل في هذا المكان الجليل وتلك المعجزة العظيمة؟
نخفي معالم المكان لتظل معجزتهم خفية، أو نجعله مزارا وعبرة
لنبني عليهم مسجدا.
The second story is the story of the owner of the two gardens, the rich and wealthy man,
Yes.
who had, of course, from all the bounties in life.
Yeah.
And there has been a lesson, of course, behind this story, the story
Yes.
of the two gardens, so that people would not only rely on
Yes.
the artificial sense of wealth.
Exactly.
And behind it, definitely, there is a very important lesson here.
Definitely. Also, a plethora of lessons, as a matter of fact. But let's say here that one of the very significant lessons that can be derived here is how is it people in life can reach a point due to the weak nature of the human being where it can be perceived as if this is something that can be taken for granted, that it is I who have managed to compile and to bring this to myself. And this is where the powerful message of the Noble Quran with regards to this story comes, when how is it in just no matter of time everything was changed. He lost everything. Why? Because in reality, and as a matter of fact, he was not the originator of this wealth.
Yes.
He was not the real creator of the two gardens. Rather, they are of and they belong in the true sense of the word to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is where the story and the Noble Quran comes to serve and to function as a reminder that life is only a trial, that it is only a test, that no matter how things can seem to be comfortable and a reason for the person to put their feet up, that this will be the case forever. And also the other way around, no matter how the human being can go through very challenging times and times of need, this doesn't mean that they should despair or give up, and this will always be the case for them as long as they are alive. Rather, there is also hope.
سأشتري هذه الأرض، ورغم بعدها عن البلد سوف أشتريها لأحولها إلى جنة. هكذا صنعت في أرضي وبمالي نخيل وأعنابا، وشققت الأرض فأخرجت سندسها وأوراقها وثمارها. إنها جنتي لي وحدي، وها هي الإبل والماشية تتكاثر حتى ضاقت الأماكن بها. فأنا أستطيع ببقري أن أصنع نهرا من اللبن، وبالعنب أن أصنع نهرا من الخمر. أستطيع ولا يستطيع غيره صنع هذه الجنة. هل على الأرض أغنى مني؟
لا أحد يملك ما تملكه إلا أرملة قريبة من جنتك.
إن جئت الآن لتدعو لي فلست في حاجة إلى دعاء أحد، فأنا أملك النخيل والأعناب والأنهار، أملك الطعام والشراب والذهب، أملك العبيد والنساء، أملك كل شيء.
أستغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم. كنت أحسبك بخير.
أنا في خير وأكثر، أنا في جنتي. انظر إلى نفسك أنت.
استغفر الله يا أخي، إن الله هو الملك المالك المقدر، صاحب الجنة وفالق الحب والنوى، خالق الإنسان، خلقك حتى أصبحت تستطيع الحركة والكلام. أنسيت ربك القهار؟ إنه ربي ولا أشرك به أحدا.
ماذا تريد؟
لا أريد منك شيئا.
ألم ترث مثل ما ورثت من أبي؟ إنك أنفقت مالك كمن يفتح يده ويرمي ما يملك، أما أنا الآن فأملك الولد والمال، ولا أظن أحدا يملك ما أملكه.
الله مالك الملك، هو وحده الرزاق.
أنت رجل بلا عقل، مجنون. ولكي أثبت لك أنك في خيبة شديدة سوف أدعوك إلى البحر، ولنرى ما سوف يعطيه لك ربك وما سوف أصطاده أنا.
Another very important lesson is not to look down at those who are not necessarily in an advantageous position or situation in life as some may be, because still it is all a matter of trial. It is all part of the dynamics of life. There will be those who have, there will be those who don't, and this is where the concept of solidarity and the concept of sharing and the concept of caring, all of these concepts come in order to create a healthy society where the social fabric of the entire society is protected through acts of good deed, through acts of empathy and sympathy as well.
السمك أيضا يريد صاحب الجنتين ولا يريدك أنت.
أكفرت يا صاحبي بالذي خلقك من تراب حتى أنطقك وجعلك تنظر وترى وتسير وتتحرك؟ أكفرت يا صاحبي حتى نسيت خالقك وخالق جنتك؟ أكفرت يا صاحبي بالذي يسير الطيور والنجوم والسحاب؟ لكني أشهد أنه هو الله ولا أشرك بربي أحدا.
أنا أعلم أنك تغار مني ومن مالي وأولادي.
الحمد لله على نعمته علي. عسى ربي أن يقبل توبتي ويعطيني خيرا من جنتك.
ليتني لم أشرك بربي أحدا.
بارك الله فيك يا مؤمن وثبت خطاك، فلقد نصرك الله وحده، فالولاية لله الحق. إن الله هو الخير يعطي ثوابه من يشاء.
As Dr. Allam has mentioned, that all the bounties are not just permanent.
Yes.
They cannot even be brought in the hereafter. May Allah Almighty allow us all to understand Allah's messages and to be generous, to be kind, to remember at the same time who is Al-Razzaq, who is the provider, Allah Almighty. So the owner of the two gardens is another story where the message of Allah Almighty is that to those who take the worldly matters for granted, as Dr. Allam had said, and forget that they all have those bounties from Allah Almighty. So many lessons learned actually from the story of the two gardens and from the Holy Quran. And we've read the cave chapter, we've known about the story behind the cave chapter and also the owner of the two gardens. Let's wrap up this episode with a supplication to all our viewers around the world while we are celebrating Ramadan, and of course to thank Allah Almighty for all His bounties.
Definitely. Oh Allah, we praise you and we thank you for everything that you have provided us with, and we implore you and we seek your help and we seek your guidance. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us to the straight path and to make us of those who are in a position to have the sight and to have the vision to always draw nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and safeguard us against all trials and against all hardships. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to bless all the people of the world and all our brothers and sisters in humanity. Thank you so much.
I thank you so much, Dr. Hossam Allam, visiting lecturer at Al-Azhar University, for being with us. And we'll be continuing the other two stories of the cave chapter. Stay tuned and happy Ramadan.
رمضان أهلا مرحبا